It is great to see charts like this from time to time. Here we have SUI, SUI. This is just a thing of beauty right here. Yes, as a project, in terms of its price, it has given back some of its gains from its all-time high. But as I record right now on Monday morning, we have Bitcoin that's rallied the market. Bitcoin hitting nearly $123,000 in a new all-time high. That's terrific. And as I've said historically on this channel, as has been the precedent and as has been the pattern, SUI is just one of those projects that, like a lot of other great altcoins, it gets dragged down sometimes through no fault of its own because of nasty market conditions, but it's always the one that bounces back, that recovers the most aggressively. And that's the case here. It's also up over 300% in the last 12 months, don't forget. And it's one of our favorites, no doubt about it, but I want to emphasize, and that's the point of this video, I suppose, it's not just SUI alone that's doing well. It's the totality of its ecosystem, including some altcoins that we feel have the potential to go parabolic. There are billions of dollars in market value here, and even outside of the native USDC and SUI tokens. We're going to be taking a look at 3 projects today under the umbrella of SUI, so in that SUI ecosystem, that we feel are going to perform disproportionately well this market cycle and into the next. Welcome to the channel. My name is Maddie and this is Altcoin Buzz. Happy Monday and all the best of luck if you choose to invest. Like I said, Bitcoin hitting new all-time highs, nearly 123,000, kind of in the 122,000 zone as I record. It's a nice way to start the week, and certainly I think we've been waiting for this. It could be the beginning of a new breakout. And so things are looking kind of good right now. If you choose to invest, as always, I genuinely wish you well. Just remember, I'm not a financial or investment advisor, and I say that just because it means this video is not official financial or investment advice. We're starting at number 1 here with a project you may have heard of. It's called Bluefin. It's actually the 3rd biggest DEX on SUI by TVL that's total value locked. This is a platform on which you can trade spot and derivatives. And Bluefin's growth, more than anything, is a sign of SUI's DeFi growth. There's a direct correspondence there. It's looking very healthy, both for the broader DeFi space within SUI and also for Bluefin as a consequence. And I say that for a lot of reasons, but here's just one example. Bluefin did over $1 billion in perpetuals volume in the month of June alone, just in June. But also right now in particular, stablecoins on SUI are another massive sign, perhaps the most massive, the most important sign of growing DeFi strength within this ecosystem. And here's something that really surprised me. I'm sure it'll surprise you as well. SUI did more stablecoin transfers than Solana, also in June for the first time ever. That's pretty crazy. Meanwhile, SUI also has some of the highest stablecoin yields anywhere, including just over 8%. Back on Bluefin. So that's a pretty sweet deal. 8% is nothing to shake a stick at. Stablecoins are the entryway into more DeFi volume. And so I think we can say and fully expect Bluefin and others to continue growing. In fact, there's now over $1 billion in stablecoin market cap on SUI. In a lot of ways, this is a system that globally the landscape is very conducive, very healthy for stablecoins. And then on top of that, even more so for SUI. Bluefin's native token is Blue, B-L-U-E. It's up nicely over the day. It launched in December at 26 cents, but is now down. As you can see, that's been the trend over the course of these last few months, even though it is up nicely on the day, sitting right now at actually just below 10 cents. So you're getting a better deal here than you would have at TGE at the token generation event. Risks are also a lot lower with the DEX up and running successfully. Plus, Bluefin is expected to launch its aggregator service any day now. We're looking at a market cap here of just over $30 million, which seems like a good bargain. Also keep in mind with TVL at about 195, so just below $200 million. This, I have my biases. I love SUI, I love its ecosystem, but even if you were to remove that bias and go by the numbers, this really does look like one of the best deals on a DEX. Within DeFi, I'm not just talking about SUI, but SUI or otherwise, this is a pretty good bargain by the numbers here. As you have seen these last few days and these last few weeks, we've been talking about slowly unveiling a new project that we're very proud of here at Altcoin Buzz. Check out the link in the description below. We're inviting all of our viewers to try it, to check it out. Once again, you can find the link and participate in the description below. Next up here, and although we have ecosystem projects that we like, no doubt, It is hard to overlook the big daddy of them all, which is SUI and the SUI token. SUI is one of the best growth stories of this particular cycle. As we just talked about, SUI's DeFi is doing better than a lot of people, even more so than some of the avid SUI followers were expecting. SUI's DEX aggregators are crushing right now. These are services that search for pricing, for swaps, and that kind of thing all over the network and give you the hopefully best fill for your swap. Bluefin has done a pretty amazing $1.3 billion in volume over the last 30 days. But then also we're seeing more in DeFi and specifically in BTC FI, TBTC. This is all now here, which is a big deal. Threshold's TBTC is, by most accounts, the most decentralized of all the wrapped BTC products and the most trust minimized. That means there's no custodian here. And in its first day on SUI, which was last week, it did almost $1 million in TVL right out of the gate. It is very likely that this is going to be quite a popular product. And that's just DeFi. There are other updates all over gaming, NFTs, non-fungible tokens, other categories as well, probably not as significant as DeFi, but there are others to be fair. And as one of the market darlings of this cycle, SUI holders of the SUI token have done pretty well. SUI is up nearly 80% in the last 3 months. It's one of the market leaders right here in this cycle as an altcoin. Its current price is just below $4 actually. That's a steal, considering its all-time high was a little bit above where we are right now. And we expect SUI to pass that old all-time high. For reference, it was $5.35 before the end of this cycle. We expect new all-time high territory. And of course, that alone, just on its own, would represent a pretty good ROI. All right, and at number 3 here, this is the last one that we're going to look at for the day. This also represents a new project for us in terms of coverage. We haven't looked at it before, but I think it's worth taking a look. It's called Double Up. Now, very rarely, I actually can't even think of an instance, very rarely have we ever covered gambling. So full disclaimer, that's kind of the context here. But we do like the idea of provably fair gambling, and that's what Double Up represents here. After a $4 million raise back in May of this year, the project now have a sportsbook in some approved regions where you can bet USDC and casino games. Some of these casino games include craps, blackjack, roulette, slots, and others, of course. Plus, the games feature live dealers. There's actually even a lotto game called SUI Lotto where you can purportedly win up to $1 million in a 7-ball selection game. And actually today we have Club World Soccer or football matches that are the big bet in the sportsbook. And just last week, Double Up introduced its own stablecoin that is called UPUSD. You can swap USDC for it and get 1.5 times buying power for certain contests on the site. Now, personally speaking, I don't dabble in any kind of online casino or gambling in general, in or outside of crypto. For the most part, I'm kind of actually pretty boring, pretty straight edge when it comes to that. But let me try to play devil's advocate against myself here for a moment, because I think from an outside perspective, regardless of what your preference are, so objectively, let's call it, I think it's actually a pretty smart play by the team to close up the system the same way that the arcades back in the day, you may remember, made you buy tokens and not quarters. That way you had to either use it or lose it, right? Your money was transferred. Double Up's native UP token had its TGE in May at a price of 49 cents. It's done very, very well, as you can see here, over the last 3 months, up over 100%. And now over $1.01 as I record. So you're looking at a 100% ROI in that span of time. Look, there's no question here that you're early on this one. The TGE, like I said, was recent. The market cap, even though it's gone up as much as it has, is still only just barely scratching above $15 million. So very, very early. They've also done $188 million in transactions so far, which is pretty good. So again, $15 million. This is certainly a micro cap among altcoins. And we know that small caps have not done well in this market, but in contrast, so there are certain exceptions, And I think it ought to be at least considered that the SUI ecosystem projects are doing well in that same period of time in this market, compared against all those other small caps, all the other altcoins that just seem to be dematerializing, really falling apart. There is an exception for the better SUI ecosystem projects. So we'll see what happens. One thing to look out for is that only 15 million out of the 100 million up, that's UP tokens, are in circulation. So easy math there, 15 out of 100, that's 15%. That's a low number. Just be aware of that. But they do also have a buyback and burn program, which is always something that I like personally. We're fans of that at Altcoin Buzz, generally speaking, and they are burning thousands of dollars of UP each week. So depending on how heavily you want to weigh those variables, I think certainly the buyback and the burn program kind of outweighs that low circulating supply. But look, if you're a believer that the house always wins, which it pretty much always does, then you can get a piece of the casino pretty cheaply. Also, the games do look like fun. And if you want to dabble, you can bet USDC, UPUSD, or SUI when you play.